Hello, Ceci. How are you? Come on in.
Fine, and you?
Just fine, thanks. I uploaded feedback for the method section in your instruments, and I don't know if you've had a chance
No,
to
I
look at it.
didn't.
Okay. So take a look at it. Let me know if you have any questions about the feedback. Okay. And how are things going with your data collection?
Well, I'd um, applied some questionnaire with some teachers, and I have been like kind of selecting, but I don't know if I decided to maybe to talk with these teachers. I have like four, maybe.
And
Well,
how,
I grew to observe three teachers, but I decided this full teacher because they one of them uses the videos in the production stage, and then they use like a worksheet. So um,
how many
know.
how many questionnaires did you apply?
13, but at the end I have
Or
11.
how many did they fill out? 11? You have 11 questionnaires filled out?
Yes, no, 12.
12, okay. And you want to select how many participants?
3.
3?
It's 3 teachers too. So
Okay, and have you had a chance to look at the
yes,
questionnaires?
yes, but I don't know if the questionnaire was very useful because some of them just I use them and for maybe some of them mention comprehension listening, but some of them like just mention like in the warm up or in the production stage.
So did you find any of those 12, or you mentioned here 4, but let's say you had to select 2 or 3 participants, which of these, did you find any participants that answered kind of in an interesting way or something that you want to find out a little bit more about as they relate to your research questions? I mean, are there, because we need to find a specific reason or a few reasons why you chose those participants. So,
well, um, it could be like kind of. I chose two of them because they uses they present the video and then they work with the video with a worksheet or they analyze the content of the video. Some of them also mention that they uses the video for check the vocabulary or grammatical structures from the unit.
okay.
So that's why I said.
Okay, let me take a look here at. So, did they indicate if they were using captions in the video?
Oh yes. Well, they mentioned that um, it depends on the activity and also the level.
And how many teachers responded that they use captions?
I think all of them, but some of them only mention I use them for 1 and 2 level and only if the audio is kind of complex or difficult to comprehend.
Did they all mention that they use videos with captions for listening comprehension?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not a problem. They all use videos. And they all use it for listening comprehension. Is there something else, something additional that is different that they like maybe 2 answer differently than the rest, or something kind of?
Well, only they mention like the what they do with the video, like after watching the video.
Okay.
Just like analyzing information or vocabulary or.
All right. And what was interesting? What did they do afterwards in that case? What did they?
They only mention that they use worksheets. They don't mention.
Okay. So let's look at- so you had 4 here. These are the
Yes.
4 that you.
Like yes.
Now, how do these 4 different than the rest of the 12?
Well, I select some of them because they. Well, for the ones that. mm, some of them. I decided to choose those because those teachers are not going to use videos during maybe 3 weeks. Also because they don't want to be observed, because they don't use this.
So there's
videos.
some that didn't want to participate in the study.
It's one teacher, and some of them mentioned that they are in period exams, so they are not using video during this.
All right. So of these 4 that I'm looking at here, right away, just the first question. It says you have some that say they use it once or twice every week, once almost every week, right? Is that what it says?
Yes.
And one says once a month, one says 3 to 4 times a month. So right away, this probably I would put aside, just by that one question, because they don't use it very often. I mean, I don't know because you're going to be asking them to be using it quite a bit. If they're not used to using it, it may not be a good person to include in the study, or not.
Well, I don't know. I was thinking I could, I don't know, talk with the teacher if he's going to use videos, maybe to next.
Or if there's another reason why you want to select this person.
Yes, because he mentioned that
we use the screen we see in the classroom and watch the material and the students.
Yes, he mentioned that.
Using captions is good for students because they read and listen at the same time.
Because he mentioned that yes, he uses worksheets. I don't know.
Okay, let's compare. So this teacher says once a month. Songs, movies, TV shows, commercials. I usually use songs or movies. How to use them as a model for an activity to elicit information challenge. As a model of activity. We use a screen in each class where we watch the material. So this one sounds like they do something else afterwards, right? They use the movie first, and then it leads into a different activity. Yes, do you use captions? Just in English, I think that helps students. So question 4, they all said yes. Films. Yes, it depends on the activity, but I mainly use them. But it says here, it depends on activity, so según este, a veces se utiliza, a veces no, ¿verdad? I mainly use them for vocabulary, listening, and pronunciation. Captions because you can read and listen at the same time. Because you're only focusing on listening, right?
Yes.
Read and listen. Vocabulary, listening, and pronunciation. Better comprehension. It's hard to read. Film.
Yes.
Captions because sometimes the language used is complicated. Pero aquí is how do you use them? Document related. Pues aquí ellos no están diciendo cómo, ¿verdad? Like listening comprehension. No lo veo. No lo veo así de dónde.
Well, I suppose that maybe it could be like related with the vocabulary, grammars. I don't know, because he says that if the documentary is related to the unit, I don't know, maybe like the content of the video, maybe the topic.
Ajá, pero mi duda es, como no estoy diciendo así muy específicamente cuál habilidad,
Um,
no sabemos de cuál, podría ser listening, pero could be speaking, could be reading and writing, porque en cambio, aquí está mencionando específicamente read and listen, ok. Aquí está diciendo, bueno, vocabulary, listening, and pronunciation, muy específico. Aquí también está diciendo help with better comprehension. Pero bueno, esto es una observación nada más,
Ajá.
pero es lo que tienes que hacer evaluando cómo está contestando para ver cuáles serían los mejores participantes para basado en tus preguntas de investigación. Maybe, so maybe 2 or 3 times. Are you planning? 2 or 3 times. Yes, of course. Okay. All right. Maybe we can focus on 2 teachers.
2.
I think 3 might be nice. So if you had to choose 2, which 2 would you choose and why?
Well, I think that could be this one because she mentions that he uses like for practicing listening.
One of the reasons why I like this one too, and this is something that, because the reason I'm asking what I want you to do is reflect on how you're going to choose this, because you need to include in the participant section and the method section, very briefly, why or how you chose these participants, and that information needs to come from this instrument. So you'll say something like, they answered this way, and that's why I chose these 2 participants. So you have one teacher here that has, I think, a little bit more experience than the rest, perhaps. Maybe not see user experience. Yeah, a little bit more. And they mention that they have used it. They typically use it a lot, once or twice a week. That's a lot. So supposedly their students are going to be really used to using the video. So that's one thing. That's one observation. Now, if we compare this one to this one, about the same amount of experience, a little bit less. But the main difference here, according to this, is in the past, this particular group of students probably has little experience using video. So that might be a point of comparison. It might be, and I'm not saying that's a reason not to choose it. You could choose it, this person, but look at to see, how the students are, use how they adapt, how they feel about using video, but coming from a different set of experiences, maybe having less exposure to video. Let's see, question 2. So they use music videos from YouTube. So music videos and trailers. So it's basically the same. They use it pretty much the same. Now here, this student has less experience. In fact, as a student teacher, right?
Yes.
So that's another thing. And I'm not saying either good or bad, but that's something different. So I think it boils down to, let's see. These are all here at the university, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I think basically you just need to decide, which two students that you want to compare. Do you want to compare in groups, like groups that have had probably less experience with videos with those who have a lot? Do you want to compare a teacher maybe with a lot of more experience than maybe a student teacher, or some other comparison? I think it's just a matter of you deciding which two you want to compare.
Well, I would like to choose these two teachers because with with um with this teacher I kind of like curious to see how he uses the worksheet after presenting the video. So that, well, I think I would
And
like
he
to.
mentioned that right here.
Yes.
Does she use a worksheet?
No.
Okay.
Well,
She doesn't mention it. Okay.
but when
Okay,
I read
that's fine.
for this questionnaire, I like always like, well, the worksheet called my attention.
Got your attention. Okay. So so these two.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. All right. So I think the next step now is to talk to these two teachers and start planning the next 3 weeks. Now, this information, just hold on to it. You're not going to include this in your analysis, but this information you will include in your analysis. All right. And so you need to go ahead and try to plan on when you're going to observe, when you're going to interview. And I would go to each teacher and say, okay, I'm planning the next 3 weeks to do so many interviews, so many observations, and I'm planning on these days. When is that okay, or what days are you planning on using video, so that you can try to plan accordingly, that you can plan days to observe where they're going to actually be using video.
Teacher, I have a doubt. Do you think that well, I need to do more than one observation? I mean, I don't know if one observation is like enough, or I could.
All right, I think you need to ask how they're going to be using video over the next 3 weeks. And because you might, for example, observe a day that they use video, and let's say that the next day they do fill out a worksheet based on what they did the day before with the video. Then you can observe those 2 days, even though the second day maybe they're not using the video, but it's an extension of what they did earlier. Those are things you'll have to ask the teacher, and maybe adjust. You're not going to know. They're not going to know for sure how long maybe an activity is going to last. So you may, you need to work with each teacher and then just kind of plan as you go. If you need to observe one more day, or not. So even though a class they're not using video per se, maybe it's an extension, and maybe that's part of your analysis, and you would include that in your observation, right? See? So, yeah. So go ahead and start talking, preferably today or tomorrow, so you can start this week in the observations. And next week, when we have our tutoring session, or anytime if you want to discuss how things are going with the data collection, that's what we'll talk about. We can discuss each week how you're progressing, how much information you're getting, but always analyze every day, every time that you observe a class, every time you have an interview. When you finish, reflect, look back, do a quick analysis and ask yourself, are you getting enough information to answer your research questions? Are you getting enough information to satisfy the purpose of your research? And then think, okay, I still have this amount of time left. Do I need to make any changes? Do I need to schedule maybe another interview? Or maybe do I need to observe a different day? Right? So it's constantly analyzing what you've done and then looking forward to say, okay, am I going in the right direction or do I need to modify or adjust? And obviously always talking with the teacher, being in close contact with the teacher. Okay? So I think this first conversation is really important with the teacher to kind of lay out the best that you can with their cooperation how you're going to apply the instruments. Okay?
Yes.
But I think this is good. I mean, this is good. It sounds like they're comfortable using the video. So it looks like based on just on these results here that you've chosen 2 participants that hopefully will. It looks like will give you the information that you need to do your analysis. That's a good thing. So the main thing is just to let me know if you feel like you observed a class or your observations you're not getting any information that is useful and you're not sure what to do, we need to discuss it right away. Okay, so hopefully every class you're getting some information that you need. Now some classes may be better than others, but you always want to be getting some information that's related to your research questions. And if you're not, then we need to talk about it right away. So we can see about either having to modify our research questions or modify what you're doing in the data collection process.
Okay.
Because this time is very critical. I'm really I want to make it, clear that this is kind of it's because there's things that are out of your hands. I mean, I want you to do whatever you can to plan so you can avoid problems later on. But there's some things that come up, like classes get canceled. It's beyond your control. Teachers get sick one day. It's beyond your control. There's things that happen, and even with the best intentions, things could go wrong. Hopefully they don't. But what I want to stress is what you can do from your side to plan and try the best to prepare yourself to get what you need so that if things do happen, you still have time to still get the information you need. So we have 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks for data collection. I'm recommending to everyone to try your best to collect everything by April 11th. That is 3 weeks from like this week and 2 more weeks, with the idea that you still have 3 more days of Holy Week to still, if you need to get additional information. But typically Holy Week is like, you don't get much done on Holy Week. So try your best to get all the data that you need by April 11th, these first 3 weeks. And that way you still have a couple of extra days just in case.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay, teacher.
All right, so I'll see you next week if you don't have any other questions. I'll be checking my emails. I won't be here Thursday and Friday, but I'll be checking my emails. So if there's questions that you have about your literature review, about your methods section that you want to ask me, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll see you next week, and we'll see how things go.
Yes,
Okay. So just the main thing is if you have issues, see me right away because I don't want you to have problems with the time, the window of opportunity that we have here.
So when do we have to have it in the data collection? On April 11th?
The data collection is due on the 18th of April, so you actually have till the end of Holy Week.
Okay.
So, and there's nothing really to turn in per se, so
Right.
you're not going to have to give me anything. I want you to have it, and we may need to look at it if we need to evaluate it. But there's nothing to upload, or you just need to make sure you have it, because during vacation, obviously, no teachers are going to work, so you're not going to be able to get any more information. And when we come back in May, you need to be, in fact, even before, you need to start writing. The thing is, after you have all the data collection, you're going to have to analyze and start writing. So, you maybe have a week or two to analyze, maybe a week, and then start writing. I would take advantage of vacation and start writing. And then in May, bring in what you have. We talk about it because that's another thing we'll be talking about. How do you want to organize your results? Just like we talked about organizing your literature review, we're going to be talking about, okay, how do you present your results? And so that's what we'll be talking about in May. So we won't have much time. In fact, we won't have any time to collect data after Holy Week, basically. So that's why these next few weeks are critical.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, teacher.
All right,
Scared
Ceci.
now.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. No, you're going fine. Right?
Yes.
Just be in close communication with the teachers. That's the big thing, and ask for help if you need help. That's the thing. So, but everything's coming together nicely. So we'll see how things progress next week. And it looks like based on um, your your instruments that you've chosen some good teachers, at least based on how they answer. So that's a good thing. All right. So we'll see you then next week.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
You're
teacher.
welcome. See you later. Bye.